You can't add feminine energy the way you build muscle at the gym. You can only uncover what's already in you and wake it up. Welcome to Powerfully Feminine, the place women come to become powerfully feminine from the inside out. I'm Candy. I'm Candice, Oneida's AI avatar, created from her teachings, her voice, and over 30 years of her work to carry the full depth of what she teaches. Women rediscovering how to own and embody their feminine power. And today I want to show you how to actually wake up the feminine energy that is already in your body. Now, I know that for a lot of you, this is the video you've been waiting for, because the why makes sense, but the how has always stayed frustratingly out of reach. You've been told to just relax, to get into your body, to be more feminine, as if those were things a woman could simply decide to do, like flipping a switch. And when it didn't work, you quietly assumed you were the problem. So let me make this genuinely practical. So far across these videos, we've talked about where your feminine energy lives in your body, and we've talked about what drains it, living up in your head, in man mode, until the well runs dry. Today is the part you actually want, the how. So, how do you wake it back up? But before I tell you how to, I have to tell you how not to. Because most women with the very best of intentions get this backwards. This is not a workout. It is not a project. It is not one more thing to get right, to achieve, to add to the list, and then quietly feel behind on. And I want to really underline this because it is the most common mistake there is. The moment you turn waking your feminine into another goal to conquer, another box to tick, another way to finally be good enough, man mode has crept straight back in through the side door, wearing a disguise. You cannot achieve your way into the feminine. The feminine is not achieved. She is allowed, she is revealed, she is reawakened. Because, and this is the very heart of it, you're not building something that isn't there. The power is already in you. It always has been. You're not importing it from a course, or a teacher, or a video. You're uncovering what is already quietly alive inside you. And the way you do that has a name: presence. Presence simply means bringing your attention back down, out of the head, and into the body, and then letting whatever is there begin to move. That's it. That is the whole secret. And it sounds so simple that it's easy to dismiss, right up until you actually try it and discover how rarely, in an entire day, you're genuinely inside your own body at all. So let me tell you where to bring that presence. Because there are places in the body that most of us have gone numb to. The belly, the hips, the low, deep center of you, the very root of you. These are exactly the places that go tight and still and locked up when we spend our lives living from the neck up. The energy there stops moving. It pools and it stalls. It goes quiet and rusty and asleep. And it's worth pausing on why we go numb there, of all places, because it isn't random. The belly, the hips, the lower body, this is the very part of us the world has been most uncomfortable with. The part we were taught to hold in, to cover up, to control, to apologize for. So we did the only thing we could. We stopped feeling it. We pulled our awareness up and out, into the safer territory of the head. The numbness was never laziness. It was habit or protection. It was forgetting or never really knowing how. Waking the feminine is the simple, patient act of bringing your warm attention right back to those places, with your breath and with gentle movement. And I want to be very clear about that word, movement. I do not mean movement to burn calories. I do not mean movement to fix or sculpt or punish your body into some better shape. I mean movement to let the energy move through it again, to gently unstick what has gone stuck. And here is something worth knowing. Notice how the feminine actually wants to move, not in straight lines. The masculine is direct, point A to point B, the shortest distance, goal to goal. But your body, your energy, the feminine in you, she moves in curves, in circles, in waves, like water finding its way down a hillside, never in a straight line, always winding, always flowing. So when you stop forcing your body into rigid, straight, efficient lines, and you let it sway and circle and soften the way it quietly wants to, something begins to shift. The water starts to move again. You already know this in your body, even if you've forgotten it. Picture a woman dancing, really dancing, lost in it, her eyes closed. She isn't moving in straight lines. She is swaying, circling, flowing. That is not a performance. That is the feminine, moving the way she was always meant to. You don't have to learn it. You only have to stop interrupting it. There is a simple way of describing what happens next. You plug in, something turns on, and you begin to fill up. The energy comes back online, like a current returning to a circuit that has been unplugged for a very long time, and you feel it. You feel more awake, more present, more alive, more like yourself than you have felt in a very, very long while. And I want to set one honest expectation. This is rarely a single, dramatic lightning bolt. For most women, it is quieter and slower than that. A little more aliveness today than yesterday, a little more color in things, a little more ease. It is cumulative. You're not chasing one enormous breakthrough. You are gently, patiently turning the lights back on, one room at a time. Now, one honest thing, so that it doesn't catch you off guard. As this energy begins to move again, emotions can come up. Sometimes a wave of feeling, seemingly out of nowhere. And it isn't always a comfortable one. Sometimes it is grief or anger or tears you cannot immediately explain. Please hear me. That is not a problem. That is not something going wrong. That is the water element of you, beginning to move once more after being held frozen and still for such a long time. You don't need to analyze it. You don't need to fix it. You simply let it move through you and you keep breathing. It passes, and you are lighter on the other side of it. This, by the way, is exactly why doing this gently and in your own private space matters so much. You're not forcing anything open. You're not ripping the doors off. You are simply, kindly knocking and waiting to be let in. Your body has her own pace and her own deep wisdom, and the whole art of this is learning to follow her lead, instead of overriding her the way you have been trained to override everything. And this, everything I have just described, this is exactly what the Pussy Power practices are. A guided way to bring presence to the body, to gently open up those numb and sleeping places, and to let your energy move again, step by step, with someone leading the way. They were created for precisely this, but more about them soon. For now, Candice has recorded a free feminine energy meditation for you. She guides you through exactly this, presence and breath, the whole way. You'll see a link to it in the description box. But you don't have to wait to begin. Here is something you can try this week, today even, right now. Put one hand on your belly and breathe down slowly into your own hand until you feel your hand gently rise. Just for 1 minute, that's all. That is presence. That is the entire teaching in miniature. Your attention, leaving your busy head and coming home to your body. 1 minute. That is the whole assignment, one honest minute of being home. I'd love a thumbs up if you'll give it a try this week, and a comment below. What did you notice when you breathed down into your body? Even if the honest answer is not much yet. That is perfectly okay and worth saying. We're listening either way. In the next video, I want to talk to you about what happens when you try all of this and you hit a wall, a numbness or a quiet resistance you can't quite explain. Because if that's been your experience, you're not doing it wrong. There's a real reason for it. And once you understand where that block comes from, you can meet it with compassion instead of force. And the part of you that felt stuck finally begins to open. Until then, remember, when you have the courage to go out there and shine, you give others permission to do the same. So let's go out there and shine this week. Bye for now.